Right, good evening, everyone. I think we've got everyone here. Lunatic, Fafi, and Alex is here.
What's up, Rocko?
Yeah, how's it going? I think our previous spaces got rugged. I don't know what happened. About 200 people was set their alerts on, and then I just couldn't get it to start.
Oh, man. It's all your fault, dude. You should be ashamed of yourself.
Yeah, I had one job to host your spaces with you guys, and I couldn't get it to work.
Just fucked it up. Unbelievable.
I think someone's attacking the Quant team, and maybe I'm being attacked because I'm trying to help you guys.
That's right. It's a DDoS.
Yeah, is Redline joining us, or is it just us for tonight?
He should be. He was just asking. Let me give me a second.
And then, guys, if you're listening, if you can please retweet myself, Lunatic, Fafi, or if you can share it, because the previous one isn't working, the main link, so I had to set up a new one. So if you can just retweet, so people don't miss out on these spaces. I'm gonna put a tweet out as well, and whilst we wait for Redline to join.
We can also wait another like 2 or 3 more minutes, and just see if some other people can figure this out.
Yeah, I think Redline's here as well. I'm gonna add him. How's everyone else doing apart from LUNC and crypto? You guys doing well in your general lives?
It's been very busy, very busy week. We've got lots of stuff going on, but overall, doing well. Things are going well, making some good progress that we'll discuss in a minute. So far, I won't complain.
That's good to hear.
Fafi, do you want to maybe just lead it off with kind of 5-minute general update?
I can do that. So hi everyone, Fafi here from the Quant team. I hope you're doing well. I hope you had a good week and a good weekend. So in this space, we'll be talking mostly about 2 things, right? So one is going to be the famous burning of the zombie wallet, the zombie USTC wallet. So we have Alex here with us, who is going to explain us a bit more what are these USTCs, where they're coming from, what are the props currently ongoing, etc. He felt that people were getting a bit confused because you've heard many things. So it's good to have the guy who is very well on point on this topic to kind of shed some light for us. So that's one thing. The other thing is we're going to be talking obviously about our progress, where we're at, and what we have been doing with Redline's proposal. So it's been 4 to 5 weeks now. What have we done? Where are we at? Do we have some results, etc.? By the way, I'm going to just attach the latest version of the report that we've been working on in the Nest. Please go take a look. It might not open well on your mobile, so ideally you have a computer or a laptop. If you don't see any charts, please hit refresh, but hopefully that helps you guys to follow through and have some visuals as we're going to be talking about these things.
Cool. So you mentioned the 800 million burn. I saw your post about the impact of it if you didn't burn it and it went to the community pool. Could you talk a bit more about that, Fafi?
Yes, absolutely. So we have there is a wallet containing 800 million USTC that Vegas has basically come up with a prop asking to send these funds back to the community pool so that we can take a share of it and use it to fund builders. So that's the story. Okay. Now, when we say we're going to take a share of it to fund builders, it means that basically you need to take some of this USTC, for example, 400 million, the half of it, and actually go sell it on the market, because builders, people, like, you need to pay your bills in USD, right? So you need to pay your bills in dollar, in fiat, so that people can get paid and happy and pay for their expenses, etc. So if you want USTC to go up and be repegged, right, you certainly don't want to sell USTC, because when you sell an asset, what does it do? It goes down. You don't want that, right? So we think that taking a share of this wallet and putting it back to the market to sell is an extremely bad idea, especially given the fact that you have a very thin liquidity in USTC. This is not LUNC, right? So the market is very thin. I think you have like 250K liquidity across like in all sex in minus plus 2%. So that's basically what this means, is that you can easily, if you start selling, I think here in total, the market value, which is not the value you would actually get by selling these assets, the market value so far is like something like $10 million, right? So if you start selling $10 million into a market which doesn't have much liquidity, you will move the price and you will move it down. And that's not good at all. So that's one thing. Now, the other thing is that we want to repeg USTC. Right? So imagine like in 1 year, 2 years from now, we have achieved this. We're happy. USTC is now pegged, for example, at $1. All right. So any of this USTC that we're giving today, right, for pretty much free, tomorrow is going to be worth $1. So if you get you get away 400 million of USTCs, it means that in 1 year, once we have achieved what we wanted to do, you need to find $400 million back to actually collateralize these USTCs. Otherwise, they won't be collateralized, and then USTC won't be pegged. So really what we're saying here is that we're going to basically giving these USTCs to fund builders is akin to shorting USTC today at the current price, let's say 0.01 cents, which is 1 cent, okay? And then you will have to buy back the 400 million USTC at $1. So that's horrible. You wouldn't do this trade. It's terrible because it creates like a massive red P&L. And that's essentially what we're asking to do when we say, hey, let's sell this USTC, so we're going to fund builders. Nope, that's not a good idea. We do not want to burn these USTCs to pump the price. We simply want to burn them so that it makes it easier to repeg USTC, so that we have less cash to find to collateralize USTC. And so what the thing that we certainly don't want to do is go and short the asset that we want the price to go up, only to buy it back at a much higher price later. And of course, we won't be able to do so because that's definitely the kind of money we won't be able to find. If we can't find $400 million today, we certainly can't find $400 million tomorrow. So that's the idea behind.
Yeah, perfect. Yeah, just to add to that, I totally agree with everything Fafi just said. I think I do. There is one kind of honest concern with this prop that I think is worth talking about. So I made a post on my Substack about it, but not everybody reads Substack. So just to kind of briefly recap that. So there's this people like Strathcole, for example, whom we all know as a very kind of conscientious, hardworking guy who's done a lot of different good things for the community. He brought up this objection that kind of rewriting the blockchain state is sacred, right? And you hear a lot of crypto OGs use this phrase, "a state is sacred." And what does that mean? Well, when a blockchain is operating and it's like every 6 seconds, in the case of our chain, there is a 6, 7, 8 seconds, there is a a new block is added to the chain. And what that literally means is that the computers of the 130 validators on our chain, they all present to each other the same, or their version of the set of transactions that has happened within that period of time. And when I guess more than 2/3 of them agree on what that set of transactions is, those extra transactions are written into the next block, and that block is added to the chain, and that is called the shared state. That's called the state of all those blocks that all the validators have agreed on. Is the kind of like the state machine of the chain, like all the computers working together to maintain this continuous ledger. And so the argument is, well, if our computer, we're in crypto, and like we have this network consensus process, and if we just go back in time and tear up some ledger entries because we feel like it, then how is this any different from fiat money? And aren't we kind of abandoning the most sacred principles that make crypto different? And I agree. 99.9% of the time, I would agree. I very instinctively follow that train of logic. But in the case of USTC here, this is a stable coin that is $9.6 billion in debt, and ultimately, at least 90% of this debt is going to have to be like restructured, which basically means written off. And the only way you can write off debt in a blockchain that was algorithmically programmed to maintain debt is to rewrite the state of the chain. And we're going to have to do this several times, actually, as the community addresses different pools of zombie funds, not just the 800 million here, but there's several other pools that will have to be addressed in the same way. And so that so for USTC to have a future, we will have to rewrite the state of the chain to reflect some of these transactions. And that's doubly true because there have been a lot of attempts to reach out to the Ozone wallet multi-sig owners, and by a lot of different people. And I guess the vast preponderance of the evidence suggests that they've already made up their minds to abandon it, and also legally they're very strongly incentivized to, for a lot of different reasons, they're strongly incentivized to just say nothing. And so I think it's incumbent on us to handle this. And nobody else is going to do it for us. There was, I think, Strath Cole had said, well, why don't we wait and see if they do it for us? And there's a lot of evidence, not all of which we can talk about in this call, but there's a lot of evidence that that's not going to happen. So I guess that's my comment on that topic. So.
Maybe if I can just add to that as well, is that we're specifically targeting dormant zombie funds. Like retail funds will never be touched in what we're proposing. I guess people are worried that their wallets might go missing or whatever. Like it's specifically zombie dormant funds that either the multi-sig owners are gone or the protocols are defunct. It'll never be the case that retail wallets will be targeted.
No, thanks for that, Redline. But we're not just burning the USDC though. We are giving them like a lot of opportunity to, we're contacting them. We're giving them saying, can have a month. If they still don't get back to us, then we can't just keep waiting. We have to take action. So I agree with you, Alex, here. I don't know what precedence it sets though, because again, like you mentioned in cryptocurrency, realigning blockchain and going back, that could set a precedence for future dormant funds. So what's your thoughts on that? The worries, what could, precedents it could set?
Well, look, I think in the real world, when you have, if you have a company like Lehman Brothers or General Motors or whatever, and it defaults on its debt and it goes bankrupt, you have hundreds and hundreds of years ago, there were people maybe would say things like, well, that's your debt, and you have to work the next 40 years of your life or whatever to pay off your debt. And in the real world today, nobody does that. And because nobody believes in slavery anymore, so nobody can justify making someone else a slave to a debt, especially when they weren't the ones that incurred the debt in the first place. And so, the free market has evolved, a debt restructuring system where the state, the fiat state machine, if you will, like the history of the shared responsibilities of the debt are rewritten. Like a bunch of the debt is voided because the debt holders, they want to be able to incentivize some people to like come back to the General Motors or whatever and work for the company and rebuild what can be rebuilt, and so that everybody is better off, right? And so in any normal debt restructuring process, you have a big chunk of the debt is voided, and that's what has to happen here. So I think it's not a pragmatic or realistic attitude to take ultimately to say that the state is sacred and we can't touch this. I think if we chronicle why we did what we did and explain why we did what we did, I think to anyone who understands finance and markets at all, it makes perfect sense, right? I think that's basically what I would say to that objection. Somebody, cool. Yeah, you're muted.
So yeah, sorry, I was on mute. So you mentioned the legal implications for why the Ozone Protocol might not want to speak to us and just not respond. What's the legal implications for us to burn it? I know we're doing it through governance, but could
so there's none. This is a common misconception. I mean, in any blockchain's consensus network is the supreme authority by definition for anything that happens on that blockchain. So, and when you buy into any blockchain, you're buying into that system. It's like if you came to the United States and an election happened and some laws were changed and you said, well, I don't agree with the outcome of the election. It's like it doesn't make sense. Like the election is something you bought into when you showed up, right? And it's the same with blockchain consensus. So but even aside from that, right, the Ozone wallet was actually a holder of 1 billion USTC from the community pool, and they're just kind of like custodians of community assets, right? So this is the community's money. This isn't Ozone's money. This isn't a bunch of people who deposited money into Ozone's money. This isn't. So this is. There is literally no issue. Like, we're just reclaiming what is ours in the first place, right? So there's literally no legal issue with this whatsoever. So like anybody who says that, like, oh, this is really legally complicated, we have to get lawyers, like, no, it's extremely simple. And there is no legal case for anyone. It's in America. I guess you can sue anybody for eating a ham sandwich if you want, but you're not going to win. Like, there's literally no legal case here for anything other than what governance decides to do with these funds.
Okay, I think I'm just playing the devil's advocate here because I think people that follow me knows I'm all for the burn, but some of the questions that's been sent to me, I'm trying to ask them. So I think this question might be from Rexy's alt account, but two questions has been sent saying that we didn't enroll it back for Terraport. why we're doing it. Now, I think you've already answered it to say that this is our money.
Yeah, but it's still a fair question that I think other people should hear the answer for. So Terra and Terra. So we this idea that state is sacred is an important blockchain principle, right? And if you're going to sacrifice that idea, you better have a really, really, really good reason to do it. Or you're going to completely lose your credibility with anyone else who's like interested in using blockchains and potentially interested in like buying your token and participating on your network. So now Terra was another token that Rexy started, and it was an investment in a DEX that he was going to make, but like that's a private asset, right? That he he and his builders and some investors and whatever owned. It was not a community. It was not a public good, right? USTC is the public good of our chain, right? Or I mean, it's like it's extremely central to LUNC's history, to its identity, to why we are where we are today. It's a public good. So that it's a much bigger ask to say, oh, we have this private enterprise over here that we screwed up. Now, can you rewrite the whole community's rules to save ourselves from our private screw up, as opposed to rewrite the rules to rebuild the public good that like defines the whole chain? Makes sense?
Yeah, it makes sense to me. Lunatic or Fafi, I don't know if you've got any opinion on that.
Yes, I do. No, it's. I think it's pretty much Alex's opinion. Like, completely agree with him. Completely super relevant. And I just want to insist again. Terraport. I come up with my guys. We have like a private token, a private company, a private enterprise. We do something. It doesn't work out because we get hacked, or because we didn't do the right thing, or for whatever reason, because our pools got drained. It's a very sad and unfortunate event, but it's an event which doesn't concern the blockchain, nor does it concern the LUNC or the USTC holders. This is the problem of Terraport. It's for them to deal with it. Either go after the guys, or sue them, or find the money one way or the other, or whatever, and then deal with their holders. This has nothing to do with LUNC and USTC. Okay.
And sorry, go ahead.
Go ahead.
I was going to say one other thing, and this isn't directly related to the logic of the argument, but as far as I know, like, we still don't have like a full public accounting of what happened there. Right. Like, that was never even shared. Right. So like the absolute, and I like Rexy's. I had a really positive relationship with him historically, and it was very sad what happened, and I felt really bad for him. But when something like this happens, like the sort of industry standard good guy thing to do is to drop every pretense of like the only thing that matters for you and your credibility is an absolutely complete accounting of everything that happened. And if you have to wait a few days or a couple of weeks for law enforcement to do certain things, then that's fine. But we're now like 6 months later, and like nobody knows what happened there, and to then turn around and say, oh, you're rewriting some state, you're altering the state machine to save this public good. Why don't you do that for me too? Like, I think that's another like really big inconsistency here. Like, if he wants to for there to be any discussion about altering a state machine on behalf of a private enterprise, there has to be an absolutely complete public accounting of what happened, no matter how embarrassing or humiliating it is to him. But that's an absolute prerequisite, and as far as I know, that never happened.
All right, so yeah, that was a long one, but yeah, so back to it. Exactly. So that's a private event. That's not the business of the LUNC or USTC holders, right? That's very unfortunate what happened, etc. What just Alex said and all. And that's not our problem, or at least that's not the problem of LUNC governance, right? Here, that's different. And that's, again, I say it again, these were assets which basically originated from the blockchain, from the community pool, had a specific purpose, which was to basically defend or protect USTC Repeg. Sadly, lots of unexpected events have happened. Today, we don't have the same people around. We don't, obviously the management is not here. People are not around, etc. The blockchain, there is still, and that's a great thing, it's still like driven by governance. You have a token which is called LUNC, which is the governance token, which gives you a right to vote and decide on the future of the blockchain. And here the idea or the intent is to reclaim what we believe belongs to us as a community or as a blockchain. So that's the idea. Now, of course, ideally, in an ideal world, a tweet or receive a DM or a message by Ozone or the current owner or custodian of the wallet. They tell us, hey guys, we're happy to burn it. They send it to the burn address and we're all super happy and everything is super smooth. That's one thing. Now, what if they just don't reply at all because they have moved on, because they're busy with other things or for whatever reason, which have been said already just before? What do we do? Do we just say, oh, they don't reply, they don't answer, so okay, we do nothing? Well, that's actually the question or the point that we're raising. That's a very specific point, and it's very it's not something people saying, yeah, you can't go back to, you can't rewrite the state of the blockchain, immutability. Yes, I completely agree. On the other hand, this is not Bitcoin. This is proof of stake. This is a bit different, right? So, for example, during the crash, validators agreed to halt and to stop the blockchain. You shouldn't do that normally, but this was an extreme case and they had to act so to avoid to get bigger losses. Here is another extreme case or extreme scenario that has been raised, which is basically these tokens or these assets are somewhere, we don't really know where, and no one is actually replying. So what do? We feel like going through governance in order to destroy these assets. Again, we're not asking to get a share of it for us, for the USTC team, for whatever. We're just saying these assets today, they're irrelevant, and we just want to make sure that this is written in the chain, but they are not in circulation and irrelevant. That's the idea behind.
No, thanks for that, Fafi. So I've got a couple more questions and then we'll open to the audience. If you've got any questions, request to speak or DM me. I'll check my DMs after this. So Alex, would your preference, and Fafi, would your preference had been if Ozone Protocol got back to you and they sent the money to the burn address themselves rather than having to, alter the blockchain?
Yeah, I mean, that, I guess, so yes, that would be the right thing to do, assuming governance had told them to do that. But I'll also say that I am basically certain that that kind of other deposits that we'll have to deal with right after this, there's not really the people charged with making that decision. Either they're not involved at all with them anymore, or they're unable, even if they wanted to help, they're sort of unable to for their own legal reasons. So we're gonna have to rewrite state no matter what, and so I guess it's we might as well have that conversation now. But yeah, it's all other things equal, you want to follow kind of the normal process that your chain set up to execute things. So the way that the normal civilized process would work is if Ozone sent 1 billion, not 800 million, 1 billion USTC back to the community pool. They only have 800 million now, and that's we don't really know. We're not really sure what happened to the other 200 million, because that's, but anyway. So yeah, the logical outcome would be that they send 1 billion USTC to the burn wallet, to the burn address.
Okay, no, thanks for that. I suppose there's lots of other the USTC, dormant USTC, that we could potentially not go attack, but we could take the same approach, give them the opportunity to send it to the burn address themselves. If not, then we can take this approach of altering the blockchain.
Yeah, just a quick one to add on top of it, Rocko. On my end, I would much rather not have to focus on this. And ideally, they come up, they send back the USTCs to the burn wallet, etc. This creates lots of work because we need to go, it does take lots of time away, having to put some proposals, then you have to campaign for it, we have to be on Twitter, we have to lobby with validators, with people. It's a lot of work to explain it in very layman hands so people actually understand what the implications or consequences. So I personally would rather not have to do this. And, when you do development, so currently we're super busy with, which I guess we'll touch base on just after, with the proposal testing. So it means that we have to shift away from this, do something else, talk to people, etc. And then it's always hard to go back to the technical work. So I would have ideally prefer not to have to deal with it.
That's fine, Fafi. I'll just ask this final one, and then we'll move on to the Redline's initial proposal of the buyback divergence. I was going to ask questions about that as well. It's about the Binance as well. So Binance holds a lot of USTC as well from the pre-crash. So could that be classed as dormant as well?
No, that is. That's people who, I don't know if some percentage of that is like TFL USTC or something, then you could make that argument. Although we want to, we're fans of what TFL has done for the chain, and we want to maintain a very constructive relationship with TFL. But no, the Binance is just holding USTC in custody for. Spot and futures traders of US. I guess it's really just spot. But those are people who own it today and who have an interest in it today and who participate in the community today. So those are the people. We don't want to pick the pockets of people who are active parts of the community today.
Okay, yep, that's fair enough. So I suppose the next question is for Redline. I know we've been focusing a lot on the 800 mil USDC. How are you progressing on your testing of your initial proposal of the buyback divergence, the protocol fees, and all that stuff?
We seem to be going well. We've kind of got an initial model and report done there now, so we've kind of got. We've a first strategy done, say, where we'd be collecting USTC from the divergence tax, and we have started doing buybacks as well. So the initial results look okay, but we still have to model many different kind of strategies to kind of get a more thorough idea of where we're going with it. But so far, it looks really good and really promising.
And is there an update coming up? I suppose you guys spoke about releasing a white paper as well, and what your recommendations are going to be to the community.
Yeah, the white paper is more of a broader thing that would expand much further than my divergence protocol. That'd be like a roadmap for the chain, say, more so, or for USTC and Terra stables, rather than specifically the divergence protocol. And I suppose at the end of the day, the divergence protocol and buybacks, it's just a small piece of what we're trying to build here. It's just a mechanism to defend the peg automatically, that we don't have to rely on LFG or anything like that, and something that's going to be strong to know that. So even if there is a D peg, like, it's going to retain the money or the collateral in our blockchain. It won't. So it went like, so when another coin depegs, like, if people pull liquidity out, it's gone. That's it. Whereas because of the way the divergence tax works, if there's a major depeg, the protocol will claw back most of that liquidity and retain it in our blockchain, basically.
Yeah, just to add on that, I've put in the nest a link. That's the latest version of the report that we've been working on. So if people are following or to help people following in the space, please open it. If you don't see charts, try to hit F5. I mean, it might not work perfectly on mobile, but it works on the computer. But open it so you can take a look, and it will help you follow through what we're talking about.
Cool. Thanks for that, Fafi and Redline. Any questions from you, Lunatic? You've been fairly quiet there.
No, mate. I just brought up Happy Catty because I thought you guys want to start the questioning soon. Hi, Happy. Hi, Quant. I just said nothing because it was nice to follow, and Rocko always does great hosting, so I just shut my mouth and listen rather than saying a lot.
All right, yeah. Just quickly, before we move on to Happy and the other question, just to add another layer, as I love to do, regarding the report. So where we're at now, for example, if you look at the report that we have in the nest, right? Things that we're doing, what are we actually doing? So we've implemented the proposal by Redline. It's great. And now we're actually tweaking it to get the most out of it. For example, if you look at the report, you can see that sometimes the divergence tax goes all the way to 100%. This is not right. Like, no one in his right mind will actually make a trade, so sell USTC and get taxed 100% of what he's getting back and still go ahead. These trades have to be canceled. All right. So if a trade is pushing, basically the way it works, or think about it very simply. When you make a trade, when you sell, you're going to push. If you sell USTC, you're pushing the price of USTC down. All right. And when you push it under the peg, will tax you, prevent you from doing so, or to basically getting a share of it. So there are two cases. If you're arbing the pool, you're still going to make and you're getting taxed and you're still making a profit, you don't care. It is free money because you're arbing the pool, or it works the same against the sex or whatever you want. So if you're making an arb and you're actually profiting from it, even though you're getting taxed, that's fine. We let you go through and we take that into account. If you're actually trading yourself, you're shorting, there are some cases where we should cancel the trade because it doesn't make sense from like an investor or trading perspective, and some other cases where we're going to let the trade go through and tax you and collect some of this money. All right, so that's what we need to tweak here. How do we apply this rule? And then when we tax you, we collect some cash, which goes into a reserve account. Some of it is going to be shared to the exchanges, the SEX. Some of it is going to be kept so that we can buy back and help push the price of USTC back up. That's the idea. That's what you're seeing in the chart. So currently, you can see that the reserve, I think, goes all the way up to $20 million. That's too much. That means we're being too enthusiastic. All right, we're being too positive about our simulation and our scenario. So we need to make our scenario or simulation a bit worse, so that we can get like something like, when things happen in reality, they often tend to be worse than better. So we need to take that into account. The other thing is that this also raises some very interesting points that we're also working on. So for example, what I just said now, you've collected some cash. It's in a reserve account. You're going to use this cash to buy USTC back to push the price up. But then you're going to end up with some USTC in your reserve. So you've given some USDT or BUSD. You've given some USD away. You've pushed the price up. You've gained back some USTC. So what do we do? If tomorrow we have to buy back again, it means we have to sell USTC to get USD and go buy back. This is stupid because if you need to buy back, you certainly don't want to start selling USTC on top of it. So doing it this way or doing these things allows to raise very interesting questions. And for example, you know how Redline planned to give some of this cash back to the partners, the SECs, etc., for them to support us. Well, that clearly tells you that we should, like the best trade for us is to actually try and give them USTC instead of USD. All right, so that's what we're going to be pushing for in our proposal. And that's why it's a very iterative process. As we do simulation, we go through what we're doing. We start asking ourselves some very interesting questions. So we said that we were going to tax the traders and that we were going to share some of this tax with the SECs. We didn't say the currency in which we are going to pay. So now we'll try to push to basically give them some USTC or use that as collateral or do some interesting things with it. But at least now we have all the tools to try and play different scenarios, different versions of the same thing and see what works best for us and what is the most realistic.
Okay, thanks for that, Fafi. I think we'll move on to some questions. We'll bring on Happy Catty Crypto and then we'll take a few questions after that. So if you want to ask questions, do request to speak. Happy, do you want to go ahead?
Thanks for bringing me up, Rocko.
Can you guys hear Happy or is it just me?
No, I just heard him say hello and then nothing after that.
Can you guys hear me now?
Yeah, you're perfect. Yeah.
Sorry about that. I've got so many different feeds going on. I just want to say to the Quant team, what a great job you're doing.
Cut out again, but thanks for the compliment. You cut out right at the end of the compliment there.
Yeah, should we give Happy another go before you move on?
Please.
I don't know why. I don't know why it keeps muting itself. I'm literally watching it mute itself on the screen, so I'll try keep clicking it back. It gets muted again. So I've got 4 questions. I'll ask them quick because either someone's muting me. So how do you intend to patch the mass leakage of USTC from the Oracle rewards pool? Is this not filling a bucket? Loads of holes in it.
I can take this one. So that's a fair point. So I guess you were cutting. I'm going to repeat your question and just interrupt me if I got this wrong, HTC. So HTC is saying at the moment, we're giving away some USTCs which are sitting in the Oracle pool, right? So we give them away and they go back to circulation and they're getting sold to the market. We do not want that. Absolutely true. Absolutely a fair point. He said that if we do what we're doing now and we leave this situation ongoing, it's as if we are filling a bucket with holes. You're right. That's something that needs to be dealt with. We just can't be doing everything at the same time, HTC. All right. So one thing, you have several options. You can just take them and burn them. All right? Perhaps, like, we need to see once we start talking a bit more with exchanges, is there any chance we can take those and collateralize them or so we put them as collat and get some USDT or some BUSD to actually start collateralizing USTC. There are many things that we could do. It's kind of, you have to see it, it's like it's related to USTC, but it's not, basically it can be dealt in parallel or separately. All right, so you have one element, one piece of the layer, which is like having this mechanism to hold the peg. And you have another part of the problem, which is like, how do we start leaking this USTC? And both can be dealt as independent pieces. And once we have a solution for each, we put them back together, if that makes sense.
That makes total sense. So my second question would be, will retail simply not be angry, right? If we look at all of the pre-crash USTC, which is quite a lot of it, right? That's where it's been since the crash. So a lot of it is going to be deemed a zombie. Binance are one of those people that hold wallets with a lot of zombie USTC in it. If we're going to, for example, introduce this block-changing state, right? We burn Risk Harbor's funds, but we don't burn Binance's. Does that not become highly questionable? Is this realistically, it's it's the same thing, but we're kind of just picking and choosing who we're going to do it to, so we don't upset the big players. Is there not any difference?
Well, no, because the Ozone wallet belongs to us, HTC. Binance, whatever they own, it's theirs, right? So first, we need to make a clear difference here. Whatever, there are assets that belong to us, assets that don't belong to us. That's one thing, all right? So that's very important to draw this distinction, and that's what makes it very different problems, in my opinion. In one case, you have Binance have gone, or they have their old tokens. They haven't touched them. We can call them dormant, but it's theirs, right? And on the other hand, we have Ozone, that's all assets. At least that's the question that we're posing here. Who do they belong to? And if it's ours, what can we do? So that's one thing. Second thing is that, and I guess you're referring to, we've had a discussion, Alex has aired the idea that we could go after dormant assets. That's another thing, right? One thing I would say to start with in this, we're not there yet. We still need to discuss further about that. However, you also have to see it as a very clever way to actually reach out and discuss with these people. We don't have their email address. We don't know where to go, right? People, they have moved on. So there were some people, they don't even follow up no more. For them, Luna Classic is dead. It has crashed. It has gone down. It was closed. The governance was closed. They have been airdropped some Luna 2. They're happy with their Luna 2. They have moved on and they're super happy. And they might not even have the keys to their wallet with USTCs, right? So it really is like, it's not, they don't even know what's going on. They're not here on the space. They don't even know that we're around, okay? So how do we reach out to them at HTC? I don't know these guys. I don't know them at all. What I can do is I can put a tweet out and try to, and hope for the best, okay? Blockchain, what we can do is we say, hey, we're going to start burning this asset, or we start kind of signaling this kind of things. And then you may actually start having people coming back to you and talking to you, or people telling you, yes, I don't care, but you have to consider it's a process. So the Ozone wallet is one thing now. And by the way, we didn't want to get started with this now. We have been rushed by some guys who have been putting some proposal, etc. That's a process, something we need to discuss. But there is also a side to it whereby we wish to get in touch with people to kind of, reach out to them and let them know what we're doing and if they can contribute or whatever. Yeah. And we don't know where to start because we don't have the contacts, or, we don't know who they are, etc. And this, at the very least, seems to be like a way to get them to the table to start talking. But it's a process. It takes time, and it requires to, to be patient and, to do all the necessary steps for it and all.
Oh, definitely. I 100% agree in taking this patient step, this real collective step. That's why I'm kind of like questioning this block changing state sort of situation. So my third question, just before I get to my fourth one, which is my final one, is simply, if you were a retail consumer that had consumed USTC, right? And then all of a sudden you've left your wallets, you've not thought about them. And then you find out from some old lady in the shop, hey, they repegged USTC. And then you go back as a retail investor to check your wallets to find out all of your funding's gone. I mean, is that not going to become questionable? Obviously you're saying people aren't going to be that upset because, it's worthless right now. But when we actually repeg the thing and it's worth $1 a coin all of a sudden, that becomes very questionable, doesn't it? Because those retail investors are the ones that have been initially burnt, right?
Yeah.
One of the things that, one of the things we could do is we could set we could say that it'll be wallets above a certain value, so that would exclude retail wallets. Do you know what I mean? The majority of the wallets we're targeting have a huge percentage of the supply sitting inside them. They're not retail wallets we're targeting, or exchange wallets. They're defunct protocol wallets we're basically targeting at the end of the day.
Yes. The other thing is that, so basically what Redline is saying is, on one hand, you have like the kind of wallet that we kind of know that they have been abandoned. And then you have the retail wallet. One solution that has been proposed as well is, that's why I say it's a process, it takes time, and we're working on it slowly. So the other thing is that you can say, hey, we're going to do it, but we're going to do only 5% at a time. So you're going to burn 5%. So as it goes up, it gives time for people maybe they've been hit like over 2 or 3 months. Let's say 3 months, you've lost 15% of your wallet that we have burned without asking you, and that's terrible and all. On the other hand, by doing so, we have brought like 30% added value to your wallet too. So now you realize, you see it, and you start getting in touch. So again, it's like, it doesn't have to be done at once, it can be done slowly, and we can imagine mechanisms such as the one we've just described here to try and kind of go slowly and easy, but also make it in a way that people are going to reach out, or that, we start creating this contact so we can talk and we can progress further.
Okay, my fourth and final question is there really a difference if we simplify and bastardize this situation? Is there really a difference between seizing Terraport assets and seizing retail zombie USTC?
Massive. We spoke about it before, actually. It's a massive, you can't even compare, actually. So, people who say like you shouldn't, the state of the blockchain is immutable, you shouldn't do that, big no-no. Listen, last year, we have halted the chain. This is a big no-no. You can't do that in Bitcoin. If you halt the chain in Bitcoin, I can, just with another peer, we can spin the chain again, right? So it doesn't happen. Like whatever, like these things come from, like you can't exactly compare like the two. We agree that we shouldn't do that is bad, but in certain cases, and that's actually one of the added feature that blockchain has gained with Cosmos and with our blockchain is like governance. All right, on-chain governance, which means that it's not just mechanic and it's not just consensus between like the nodes. You also have a human dimension to it with a governance token that you can actually vote. In Bitcoin, you don't have governance. It's money talk. All right, you want to do something, you buy electricity you direct to mine, and the bigger mining power you have, the bigger power you have, and you decide. That's money talk. There is no like, I think I'm going to make a governance spend proposal. There is no that. It doesn't exist. We don't want it. It just doesn't have its place there. All right. Now, when you move to stake and to the Cosmos blockchain, you have a nice feature which is called on-chain governance, which actually allow for people who hold the governance token to actually govern. And that's one of the few, especially in our case, you will see it, and frankly, it's very nice. Other blockchains have governance tokens. Usually it's just a way to not make it a security token. So they really are raising funds. There is like a team behind, or a private company which is going to be deciding everything anyway, but they call their token a governance token so that they don't get hit by the SEC, etc. In our case, you can truly go and put some governance proposal forward and actually get to govern. And in this case, we said it before, you can re-listen to the space. Terraport is a private company, nothing to do with us, not even our business. We don't care. We are LUNC and obviously USTC governance committee as a blockchain, as a community, every one of us, basically anyone who holds the LUNC token. And what happened to this asset which belong to us is our business. We get to decide about them. So either they're custodian, they're not the owner. That's not the same thing. Custodian means that you have something in your possession, that you're keeping it safe for others, as opposed to I have this in my possession and it belongs to me. All right, there is a nuance, there is a difference here, but it's not the same thing. So if the custodian are kind of ignoring us, what do? They still hold our assets, right? And if you go back to Terraport's asset is not even my business. I don't even care. Voila.
I think you might need to bring him up again. I think he disconnected there at one point.
Let me invite him back up. He's still here. I've sent him an invite.
We do care what happened to Terraport, by the way. We do feel bad for it, and feel bad for that team. But it's a very different kind of request when you're saying sacrifice a public good for a private asset, as opposed to sacrifice a public good for the defining asset.
Yeah,
the defining community asset.
Thanks for precising, Alex.
I don't know where Happy is. Henry, do you want to go ahead and ask your question? Henry?
Henri.
I think Henry might be French. Okay, whilst we're waiting for other people to ask questions, Fafi, Redline, Alex, is there anything else you wanted to share? I know I've been asking, and other people have been asking you questions. Is there anything in particular that you wanted to share with us?
I'm okay.
I've been talking a lot, to be honest. No, it's just that I guess we're just like tweaking a bit more like the algo that we're working on, so that we can actually get something we're happy with to share with the exchanges and all. That's one thing. The second thing is that actually I'm pretty like the algo is pretty cool. Actually, I think we can do some interesting things, especially around if we can like not tax exactly like at the peg, but if we can tax, like say if the peg is like $1, if we can tax under 90 cents and above $1.10, it could start to be like a bit more interesting, and you have a bit more variant to do. So we do have some very nice features to try. It's been encouraging so far, and we're getting in a place where we can do that, which is super cool.
Okay. The question, I was just checking the DMs, all the questions about the USDC burn, because I think that is not a priority, but it just drags all the. I know you wanted to speak about the other protocol and the algo stuff that you're building, but I think people, and probably including myself, we've quite focused on the 800 mil USDC burn. Candice and Colo have got questions, and then we can start rounding up the spaces. Candice, do you want to go ahead?
Hello, thank you for picking me to go first. I have a question for the Quant team. So I was looking at the algo backtest thing, and my eye caught the attention on the reserve. It's in BUSD. Is it just for this specific example, or are you guys planning on building up the reserve in BUSD? And if it's the case, with the current scrutiny that Binance is under, what if something happens to BUSD and then our reserve that's built in BUSD to pretty much buy back USTC, how do we mitigate that kind of exposure?
I think go ahead. Well, the thing is, the murder tax would be on all trading pairs, so it wouldn't be just BUSD you'd be accumulating. It would be USDT or any other state TUSD or any other trading pair against USTC, basically. So you would actually have a basket of stables to defend the peg.
Okay.
Yes.
Thank you. That makes sense.
Or at the very least, that's something we need to think. Is there again? It's always the same question. Is there do we have an advantage of choosing? Like, do we just apply it to all the pairs that trades and we end up with a basket, as Redline said, or do we see that, for example, is better for the question that you just said, the point that you just raised, is risky to go all in BUSD, or if we want actually support of Binance and we have something to earn by going full on BUSD, we need to. So the easy answer, the direct answer is what Redline told you, which is basically we end up with a basket of stables by trading pairs, but then can we actually benefit from it? And that's why we have a tool to try and to see what's the best situation or solution for us. And then we need to try to convince people that we can actually get what we want.
Thank you. Makes sense.
Thanks, Candice. Colo Rot, do you want to go ahead next?
Yeah, guys. Hello. Just wondering, after the 800 million USDC are burnt, are you guys planning to target any other wallets similar to that one?
Yep.
Okay, thanks for answering.
I love Alex's bullishness to start burning as much USDC as possible.
I guess what he meant is that we think Alex will be the best person to talk about it again. or maybe you can have a quick go at it, Alex. But basically, we have like there are other wallets in a similar situation, and we'd like to target all other wallets that are in the similar situation.
Yeah, and I think if people are worried about retail wallets being targeted in this, like it's very easy for us to set a minimum value, you know, so that only these large wallets are targeted in this. It's very easy to exclude the retail wallets if people are afraid that they're going to be targeted.
I hope that answers your question, Colorette. Candice?
Yes, it does. Thanks.
No worries. Candice, do you want to go ahead again? And then we'll start rounding up.
All right, thank you. So I have one more last question. So lately I've been tracking a lot of pools on TerraSwap, and there is a lot of decommissioned coins that have pools that do hold significant amounts of USTC trapped in it. Is there maybe any plans to also do something about that? I've personally tracked at least 100 million that's stuck in different pools, and it's decommissioned, so you can't get the tokens anywhere. So it's literally just stuck there forever.
Thank you, Capitan. That's a great point. So that's what Alex is actually looking for. And that's when people say like, oh, you're doing nothing, like we're not paying you to do that. It takes lots of time to make an inventory of all these things. People think that all the USTC are sitting in someone's wallet who is looking at the chart on a daily or hourly minute to see if it goes up. It's not. People were here before. They were doing things, and then the crash happened. Some got super upset, some whatever. They received an airdrop in Luna to make up for their loss, and they moved on. And that's it. And they can't be bothered. They just moved on. You also have the case whereby some protocols have been given USTC to market make. So they didn't buy them in the first place. They've been given to provide liquidity in markets. And then things haven't worked out. They have moved on. It happens a lot actually in crypto, and so we need to distinguish, you've got all this, people are super focused again on people's property, this and that. That's a good debate to have. That's very healthy. It means that you have good ethics and value, and that's great. But the reality is not this. It's not as simple as that. You have lots of wallets which are basically or tokens which can be called or labeled as zombie. Right now, tomorrow, this USTC is worth $10. Yes, of course, people will certainly come back because, just like you find dust. You find Bitcoin dust in a wallet that you had from 2017 or whatever it happens, right? So, oh, cool, this thing has gone back up. So happy, boom, I'm going to sell. All right, and so that's why what we're trying to do here is prevent this situation from happening and trying to be proactive. And either we burn them because, they've been left over and people have given up, or in the process of doing so, encouraging people to actually reach out so that we can actually talk and find a solution. The last thing you want is that once we actually work for 1 year or 2 years or whatever, and we get to where we want to be, and we've done all the job right, and then you have 9 billion of USTCs which get dumped on you, only to literally ruin all your efforts. That's not cool. And we can't just pretend it doesn't exist. It will happen if we do nothing about it.
Okay, hope that answers your question, Candice. How are you guys doing for time? Should we take a couple more questions, or do you want to start rounding up?
I'm good.
I'm good.
Okay, cool. How am I think you are next. How Mo? Okay, we'll move on to the next one. East Menlo. I love pronouncing these names. Go ahead, mate.
Yeah, I'm from East Menlo Park, California, basically, and that is my name on here. But I definitely would like to hear from Happy Catty Crypto. That is my guy. I support him deeply, and I think he's well thoughtful on the matter from all ranges of this game here. So I like to listen to Happy Catty if you don't mind speaking and, add some input as well. That's it.
think I've DM'd him to ask if his connection's back up, because he did ask all his questions, and then we sort of lost him. But no, I like Happy as well. I'll maybe I'll reach out to him about his comments on the Luna Classic community on wallet. I think that's quite an important topic. So yeah, maybe we can speak to him again after this. Couple more questions that I've got is there's been few proposals that's gone up. So there's, I think, one 11658 which says something similar to your proposal, the Quant team proposal. So what are the next steps? Do we have to just wait for your proposal to pass, and then do we have to make another proposal to alter the blockchain, or does that give us the green light? So if things go well, what would be the sort of next plan of action?
Well, I suppose on this risk harbor in the next, before our proposal passes, deposit the funds in the community pool and we burn it, I suppose the next step would be to look at making a state change. I don't know if the other guys want to speak on that.
Alex, did you want to say something, or are you on mute?
Oh, sorry. Can you repeat the question?
Yeah, so my question was, there's few proposals that's gone up. I think there's a proposal which says something similar to your guys' proposal. I think it was 11658, which said send it to community pool and burn. That passed. I think your proposal that you put up, I think it was 11675, that's not passed yet. So for the 800 million, what are the next steps? Do we have to wait for your proposal to pass? And if so, do we start altering the blockchain, or there's going to be new proposal to come up?
So the proposer of 11675, the one to just burn it, I think the validator, I think, put that up as a as sort of like an immediate response to Vegas, like kind of like they wanted. I think they're. We'd have to talk to them. I mean, I guess if let's say their proposal passes and then our proposal passes, I mean, I think the mandate is very clear that I mean, like, so well, I don't think that. I think our proposal is the only one that all the other proposals are like, we're asking you to send the money back, and then we want to do something to the community pool, and then we want to do something with it, right? Or we're asking you to send it back to the community pool, right? And for us, it's very, very important that this USTC get burnt to defend the value of the remaining USTC. So, and we think that once this money arrives in the pool for whatever reason, then certain people, some of them have already made it pretty clear that they like burning in theory, but in practice they have all kinds of ideas about how to spend this money and dump it on the market and pretty much rug pull our work. So like I guess the question is if that proposal to send it to the community pool and then burn it passes, and then our proposal passes, I think I would think at that point the state would be as the L1TF and the validators would kind of make sense of these two not perfectly identical proposals that kind of are pushing in the same direction. I guess what they would do is they'd say, okay, we'll rewrite the state to send the funds to the community pool, and then in the patch we would then send the funds from the community pool to the burn address, I guess. I mean, there'd have to be some kind of like intellectually honest reconciliation, but I guess it would end up in the same place, which would be either the USTC is erased from the state, which is the same as burning, or like the state is altered so that the funds are like written to the community pool and then burnt, I guess. I mean, but either way though, any way this works, like you have to rewrite the state. So but I guess if 675 passed and then our proposal didn't pass, I guess the the verdict would be that the community wants to send the funds to the burn address and is asking them nicely to send it to the burn address, but the community has not yet agreed to alter the state of the chain to repossess the funds.
Yeah, that makes sense. So your proposal is, I mean, it's a similar proposal, but your proposal talks about how to actually get it done as well. And I'm assuming to alter the blockchain, it's the L1 team, they'll do that, right?
Yeah. Our proposal is the only one that's not a request, because it's just it's our money, it's our assets, and so it's not. There's no requesting to be done. They are the custodian of community assets, and we're telling them that. And we told them, after trying to reach out to them, call them out in public and reach out to them privately. It'd be great if they just did this on their own, but there's no reason to think that they will, even though they are the custodian. They're custodying these assets on the community's behalf, and they should be doing what the community tells them to do. But this is a case where the blockchain. Governance, the blockchain mechanisms aren't caught up, aren't evolved enough to perfectly execute what the community, the community's desire to take back custody of its own assets and burn them. So, but we think our proposal is truest to what people want to do, and it's very clear about what needs to be done to do it. Which, if you're a validator or you're a member of the L1 task force, it's quite important in this case that the how is spelled out. It's as opposed to just, we want this to be so. We want this result, so let this result be so.
Yes, thanks for that, Alex. I'm happy you've been reconnected. Do you want to make a final comment? I guess you asked your questions, but you couldn't make a reply.
Yeah, I don't know what's been going on with the connection here. Everything in the stream seems to be fine. I was just kept getting disconnected. I've got two more questions, if that's okay, Rocko. They're really, really short ones. They're quite easy to answer as long as they don't.
Yeah.
Uh-oh.
Oh, I'm being muted again.
Happy, do you want to
so
reply?
I've got,
if you get muted, you could just reply to the tweet and then I'll read it out. But yeah, try and ask it yourself.
So how will the Quant team tell retail wallets aside from user wallets? How will you actually tell the difference being a decentralized chain, right, and it just being simply
good? Yeah, good question. So so I guess the big idea here, beyond a very small number of wallets that have already been identified in several different contexts. I mean, the Ozone wallet was publicly called out like 9 or 10 months ago in the original kind of USTC white paper. But I think so. Outside of these 3, 4, 5 very large wallets, I think the first step is to address those in separate governance proposals, and then after that, for USTC to kind of have some extra fail safes, if assuming we can get it working again. There is going to have to be some community agreed upon system for if there's USTC in a wallet and there's been no activity for the wallet in a year or in 2 years or something I do think that, I think it's premature to kind of address this, but we have 5 wallets in mind, let's say. I don't know the exact number, but it's definitely less than 10. That are just completely dormant and have been zombified for legal reasons. Basically, it's in everyone's legal interest. Everyone who was a related party of TFL, they have a very strong legal interest in playing dead, so that they don't get caught up in this extremely expensive, endless Terra litigation that's attracted all these global, Korean, American, and other Singaporean regulators. So like those are the wallets we're trying to sort of nuke from orbit. We want users of the chain today and users of USDC today to come out of this better off. That's who we're working for.
Yes, if I may add is that whatever we do, if you don't use USDC, we're dead. So it's not in our interest to chase retail users or users away. It's also, we are not doing this. We are not saying, and that's very important, I think, we are not saying let's take these USDCs from them and use them for us as a funding, etc. We have nothing to earn from it. What we're trying to do is to basically defend as best as possible basically these wallets and the retail's interest. That's what Alex just said. Keep that in mind. That's super important.
Okay, thank you. So my final question, definitely my final question, I've got to get out of here. The aim of the game right now to burn UST is to mostly prevent, right, a sellout of coins with them going to the Oracle rewards pool, the community pool, wherever people wanted to sell them. The aim of the game was what is happening with LUNC being dumped, sold out consistently in that manner, right? It's just a bucket with holes in we're trying to put water into. Now, the burn history actually shows us that last year, LUNC DAO and a few other people from a multi-signature wallet signed a burn transaction which equated to between 8 and 12% of the supply at that time. That then led to around an 80% price reduction. Is this anything that the Quant team have actually looked into to actually address? There is historical data to back up that burning could actually lead to that same exact thing that you're trying to prevent.
I'm not sure. I didn't get the question. So to make it simple, you say that.
So to make it simple, last year LUNC DAO burned between 8 and 12% of the USTC supply. The price then went and dumped by about 80% over a course of about 3 weeks. Do you guys know that happened? Have you looked at the historical data to show that, we do have more or less a scientific test to show that it will dump the price? There's a risk of that.
So you're saying that burning USDC, taking them out of the circulation, is gonna bring the price down, and we shouldn't do it. Basically, if I listen to the
no, you've got me wrong. I'm 100% with burning USTC and everything like that.
Yes.
Well, I'm not sure that you should correlate the burning of that 8% or whatever with the dumping of USTC. Do you know what I mean? They're not necessarily directly correlated.
But they correlate. They correlate on the charts together, the same time, same burn, and we watched it happen.
But HTC correlation is not causation. Like the fact is, if 10% of a token is removed from any possible future circulation, that cannot be bearish. Now, maybe markets a lot of times they anticipate things beforehand. So I don't know, like maybe a bunch of people piled into the trade before the event, and you had a buy the mystery, sell the history kind of trading dynamic around the event. But that happens a lot in markets, but it's not.
In theory, we run the risk of that happening again, then, right? Because someone could do that again around this 800 mil.
All right. Let's make this very simple, right? Very, very simple. Burning USTC, bullish or bearish? Simple question, HTC, for you.
No, it's bullish. I mean, I get what Happy Cat is saying.
Oh, 100%. I agree. It's bullish to burn.
But
what I'm simply saying is, guys, there's historical evidence to back up that a burn of substantial size has happened like this before, and it led to a dump. I'm just asking, do you think that's going to happen again?
On the short term, though, I don't know. I haven't looked at the data, but you're saying there could be like a dump on the short term. We don't care, right? Basically, what we're saying here. Let me tell you actually, and that's a good point. Let me go back to this. Why do we burn USTC? If you want USTC at $1 It means that somehow you need to have $1 for every single USTC. That's it. It really is simple. Now, if you have 10 billion USTCs, you need $10 billion. I don't mind. We can keep it this way. We just need to find $10 billion. It's fine by me, right? If you don't have $10 billion, then ideally you want to have less token in circulation up to the amount of dollars that you have or that you could get so that you can back the USTC. It's really like, it's important. Actually, that's a fair point. We need to define what is our constraint. If our constraint is the short-term price action, that's a different story, and we need to take different actions to maintain the short-term price action to the level that we want.
Anyone who's looking for short-term price action from this is looking for the wrong thing, right? Because the idea is for you guys to be able to remint USTC to then sell it and buy it at later stages, right?
Yeah, at least what I'm saying is that I'm not saying it's good or it's bad. I'm saying that it's different. What we're looking at is USTC Repeg, so USTC back to a solid value for like a stable value and is going to keep it for later. If someone is looking at short-term trade or price action only, it's not bad. It's his interest. It's subjective. It's for him. That's not our point of view. So our actions are driven by or constraint, which I said is basically to repeg or bring back USTC to a stable value that then we're going to be able to keep and to maintain. That's our constraint. If indeed you have like a different constraint, then you want to do different actions. For us, the main driver here is to reduce the need for collateral. So the less USTC in circulation, the less need for collateral we need, and that's where we want to go.
Agreed. I'm all for this repeg. I'm all about doing things the right way, I guess, and getting this the first time round, thus me bringing up the point about the bucket with holes in it with the Oracle rewards pool simply just dishing out USTC. I just don't ever want to see USTC in a position where this burn happens again.
You're right. Yes, I mean, to get your point, yes, absolutely, you're right. We don't want to, we want to have like an action which makes sense. However, it's very important. You have a huge problem. You can't tackle the huge problem. You need to break it down into smaller problems which are independent that you can solve independently and then put all the solutions back together. We have started by one problem, which is basically the protocol or the proposal from Redline. So we are testing it and making it right so that we can use it. But if you look at our first statement, which went out on CW when we started to work, the first thing that we said was, hey guys, by the way, USTC Repeg is going to take many small pieces together. Okay, so we're tackling one of them. There are other pieces which needs to be tackled, and that hopefully we'll get to tackle them ourselves, or if someone has a solution, it's always welcome. But basically, there are lots of, right now, we're only starting, and it's like, yes, you look at it, it's like a big mess. There's like lots of issues, like we're giving like away USTC from the Oracle. You have all these wallets with zombie wallets. You have, how do we do, assuming tomorrow I give you like all the money you need, can you maintain the peg? We have many problems. What do? We say, okay, we step back, we think, we break this down into smaller problems, and we prioritize, and we tackle them one by one. Boom, 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 boom. That's what we do.
Awesome. Thank you so much for answering all my questions. Like I was saying, I'm just worried about us. Basically, we've regained ourselves around the 13th of July from that actual real bad crash from that burn. And I just don't want to see us go down again. I would rather see us all go upwards again. Thank you so much for your time, Rocko. Thank you for having me on.
Cheers, Happy. You're even running when you're trying to leave.
Thank you.
All right, no worries, mate. Thanks for your good questions. But your concerns, I think it's just the markets. We see it every year with Litecoin halving. It pumps leading up to the halving. And then a month before, I think if people follow me, I've posted like shorting Litecoin around $100. It dipped. So it's just the markets. When there's good news, people buy it, buy the rumor, sell the news. So I don't know what we can do with it. For USDC, you'd see probably price go up. DJs will ape in, myself included. But then long term, it will depend on the other stuff Fafi, Alex, and Redline's working on to see if the price of USDC can go up in the long term. And we'll take two more questions. There's a guy, Mum to Thamex. He can go next, and then we'll take the final question from 0x, and then we'll start rounding up. 0x is the guy that well, I wasn't going to go promote Terraport, but might have been tempted. But after reading ZeroX's threads, I definitely didn't take part in it. So yeah, we'll let ZeroX ask the final question. Go ahead, Mam2 Tamax.
Hey guys, I just had a quick question, and you may have talked about it earlier in the space. And if you did, you can just say we talked about it earlier, and I'll go back and I'll listen to the beginning of the space because I came in a little late. But I saw the tweet from LUNC DAO regarding the Fireblocks infrastructure and read through some of the comments on it. And I was just wondering, it was a little alarming to me. And I was just wondering if this is a legitimate concern. And if it is, how big of a concern would it be? And do we have any, I guess, pathways for damage control for something like that? And that's all I've got. That's my question.
Yes, that's a very good question, actually. I got, that's frankly the least thing I wanted to hear today, like the least of them all. And we heard LUNC DAO is trolling, etc. Well, actually, he's making some very good and valid points in there, as usual. It's a very smart guy, bringing the right things. We need to look into it. The thing is that it raises the point of who looks into it, who is actually our official, contact point with exchanges, what are people doing, etc. We focused more on the modeling, on the USTC modeling. We made a very specific and detailed proposal for doing something very specific, right? So that's our focus. Clearly, we're very concerned about the health of the chain and what goes on. And it's very sad to see that if this is true or this could happen, and we've been doing so much good work, and if we're getting somewhere right now, that would be like a terrible event. So we need to be honest, we need to get together and start to think rationally about what's going on, who actually takes the lead on these things. So TGF, I think TGF is not TGF anymore. They have moved on. They're focused on block entropy, which is another blockchain, another thing. L1 team, I'm not sure what they're up to. I haven't catch up with them lately. So, that's super important. That's extremely important. And also, another thing is that, for example, in this case, what made me very upset last week is we are focused on other things. And then I learned about the proposal for burning USTC like you guys. So it came out of nowhere. I didn't see it coming. And it starts creating this whole chaos and cacophonia. And basically, it would be so much easier if the author of the proposal just sends a DM. We talk, we know each other, we talk. So just shoot a DM. Hey guys, I've been thinking of doing this, etc. What do you think? And then we discuss, we think together. We can bring in the community and have a healthy discussion. And then we move forward together. When you start having of course, that's decentralized, and we want everyone to be able to do what they wish to do through governance, etc. That's fine. But then keep in mind that you have partners on the other side. And when everyone starts taking random actions left and right without any synchronization, this does look very bad. Okay, it means it makes people don't want to, just want to go away from us. And, it's very important that I'm not saying I think it would be terrible if we have only one single team, but everyone has to go through them and they have to do all the proposals and all. That would be terrible. On the other hand, frankly, getting a little bit of synchronization does not eat bread. It only takes a DM. And we do it, and that's fine. But the problem is that you have many factions or many groups who are trying to take, opportunities to basically shine. And they would do it, as you're seeing in this case, at the expense of everyone else and the network. This is not right. So back to this point in particular, need to talk to LUNC DAO, see where we're at, and see what we can do to actually mitigate this. But yes, let's hope that we can do something about it.
Okay, hope that answers your question. I've had a DM from Candy Protocol saying that initially there was 1 billion in the Ozone wallet, and now he's down to 800. Are you guys aware of that? And where did the 200 mil go?
Yeah,
Yeah.
I banged that drum. Remember when this came up a while ago, and I said, remember, there was $1 billion, not 800 million, right? So there's $1 billion USTC that Ozone protocol custodied, and the wallet only has 800 million today. So I guess it's hard to understand what was going through their minds when they don't respond to any outreach whatsoever. But I guess as I sort of mentioned earlier, there's plenty of reasons to think that their mind is already made up in terms of how they want to proceed. So of course we don't know yet. But if you are just objectively looking at the evidence, there's Anyway, it's a great question, and we don't have a stone cold answer for it right now.
Yes, but that's a further point. Like HTC is still here, so when you say like, oh, it's not nice to burn people's wallet and all, like there is 200 million USTC missing in this wallet. Please go find out, because it feels that this belongs to us. So it's a very tricky situation here. And contrary to what people may have pictured to you, that don't worry, everything is going extremely fine. We've been talking to them. Quant team is horrible because they want to burn people's assets, blah blah blah. Like there is more depth into this topic, and you should really these are very good questions that you want to ask, and that gives you like some good idea of the mindset or what's going on and all.
Okay, thanks for that, guys. Final question, 0x. Do you want to go ahead, mate?
Yeah. Hey, everyone. OXE here. How's it going, Alex?
Good to see you here.
Yeah, I thought I'd swing by in between launching my new project, which I won't shill. Actually, it's really interesting on the Fireblocks stuff. So if anybody doesn't know what Fireblocks kind of is, I think of it like a safe way, like a way for institutional money to invest into your token. And they have like risk assessments. I remember when they launched it back in 2021, I think. I can't remember. Anyway, and I guess the takeaway is to read the notes where they sort of said why they've stopped supporting LUNC. And they've stopped, so it means that it is much, much harder for institutional money to buy LUNC, basically, or trading desks, with anyone with fiduciary duties to their liquidity providers. So they say things like unreliable infrastructure, sporadic, uncoordinated decision-making regarding upcoming upgrades and changes, too frequent changes in the fee structure. So they're literally saying stop fucking around with the burn tax, and then like technical documentation, whatever. So they're basically saying like they've done a risk assessment, they've looked at it for 6 months, and they think there's a very high loss of risk of loss of funds. So I think that's the lesson.
I seem to recall somebody in the community, I can't remember his name, but somebody in the community was like jumping up and down 10 months ago about what a bad idea the burn tax was going to be. Who was that guy? I can't remember that guy's name. Does anybody remember?
It must be a fudder, whoever it is. It must be a fudder.
It must have been a fucking fudder. Yeah, definitely. Anyway, yeah. Well, look, no, it's not in all seriousness though. That sucks. I think, we do have a lot of people in the community who like this is kind of like their first sort of plunge into decentralization, into, I won't even call it decentralized governance because that's a scam 99% of the time, but into like blockchain operations, let's say, and they're not really aware of like industry the kind of norms that have kind of evolved in our industry for a reason. And, I think generally kind of making changes, one of our guys, the guys on our team, Bilbo, he spent a lot of time building this very nice sort of flowchart about like the different fees and stuff that exist, because it doesn't seem like it's really documented anywhere. A lot of the changes to the code of the chain, they're like very poorly documented, which makes it very hard for other developers to figure out what they need to do in order to make something work if something doesn't work as expected. And these are things that the community should absolutely respect. And the Fireblocks has worked with hundreds, if not thousands, of blockchains, and that's their job. And if they have a risk assessment of our chain that's really high, it probably would do well for the community to be a little bit more sober-minded sometimes in terms of certain influencers who can run around and promise the sky. I don't know. I'm getting triggered. I'm just going to shut up.
It's okay.
Yes,
We're all
that's
triggered.
that's a very fair point. Also, I think we have. All right, so this is beautiful. To take action and to go with heroic governance proposals and all. You really need to think about these things, right? Every time you want to reverse something, you want to revert a change which is already here, or you want to make big changes, or that we don't actually have clarity, or we don't get to actually talk together about the path forward and what we try to do. So what we're trying to do, we give updates on a weekly basis. That got HCC very upset, but there was a reason for it, so that people know what's going on and that we can actually act early as a community to say, hey, this is not the right path forward, and we should perhaps shift or pivot there, so that we don't have to do something and then revert it back, and then revert it back in, and so on and so forth. And yes, governance proposal is amazing, because it allows anyone with tokens to basically LUNC tokens to go ahead and try to have a say, or at least have a say in how the blockchain is going and running. It doesn't mean anyone or everyone should do it, including myself. And we need to have a bit more discussion, and somehow it feels that the internal fights, because I don't like these guys, because I don't trust this guy is a bad actor, or because this and that, as a result, you get that people who are following and are going to put at the end of the day the big dollars on the table. They see that and they say, wait a minute, with this, I'm never going to go nowhere, right? Because the moment someone does something, someone else will try very hard for his interest to actually roll it back. And we're kind of fighting around $500 million, and the governance, and without realizing that people are actually watching. When people come, and it feels amazing to go ahead and put a tweet and say, hey, what's going on with the sex? You guys are lying because you are not talking to the sex USTC team. You're just trying to build money, blah, 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 etc. We told you, we've been very clear about it. We can't talk about it. We have spoken to some people. They have said, we don't want this to go out. We don't want to talk about it. We've said it. We've said it in recorded spaces now. We've put written statement about it. Now, if you keep forcing, or if you keep tagging these people, it's going to make them upset. And it's going to make them want to leave, because they can't be bothered. So we really need to step back and take it easy a bit more about these things, right? Where it's cool to get involved and to get to decide. It also means that you have influence, you have a voice, and you have to be careful about it. So that's a very important message, I think. Sorry, yes, for interrupting.
So is there anything we can do, 0x? What would your suggestions be? I know it's not good news. What can we do as a community? Or
no. There's nothing we can do.
We're just screwed.
I think we have to listen. Yes. Are you suggesting we should listen to annoying fudders more? Is that what you're telling us?
No, I think even if you listen to me, this could have happened anyway. Fireblocks integrated Luna when it was on the up, and institutions wanted to buy it and get access to the ecosystem. And when you have uncoordinated community-run governance, it's pretty hard. They wouldn't integrate LUNC now. I mean, it's pretty tough. Yeah, you need to negotiate with these people. They need fees. It's pretty tough, even if you have a centralized team to coordinate this sort of thing in the first place. So yeah, it's pretty tough. But at the same time, doesn't mean that LUNC's going to get delisted, like by automatically from like centralized exchanges. I think like Binance listed LUNC or Luna before Fireblocks integrated. So I think most centralized exchanges will still keep it up for a while, and then we just see where we go next. But just stop fucking around, basically. That's what that means.
Thanks for flooding yours. Always appreciated.
Anytime.
Okay, I think we'll start rounding up now. We'll give the final chance for 0x Redline. Alex, if you guys want to make a final comment before we start rounding up.
I would like to. First thing is thanks very much for the people supporting a lot in the background, and everyone. In particular, I wanted to remind people, like we've seen lately some bad tweets, like going to follow Luna because she means bad and she's terrible, going all the way to calling her a bitch and all. That wasn't cool. Let's not do that. Let's not get there. That's one thing. The other thing is that please, we do reports, we do updates, go and read them. If you don't like reading, look at the charts. Things are moving and going towards the right direction. And if people come and start saying, oh, they're not doing all this and that, it's your duty, it's your job to remind them that no, it's not. And to basically not give a voice to these people that then can lead to the events that Ears just described right now. It's like important that, you know, we kind of have a minimum of common sense within the community, and that, you know, we remember that besides like the LUNC DAO who is terrible and this and that, we start to, you know, put ourselves together and think and look at the facts, and not, of course, it's good sometimes to ask questions, but not get fall to the, you know, bad actor. They want to take over, they want this, they want that. There is like plenty of money involved and on the table, not necessarily mine or yours, but some people at the very least. So let's keep that in mind. And you want them to stay, you don't want them to leave.
Thanks for that, Fafi. And what's the future steps for the Quant team? So I can't remember how many weeks you've been going on. Are you guys going to make a new prop up? So what's the future steps for Quant team?
Yes. So basically, current prop, we can say that is done. It was like 1 month. I think we've been doing some very good progress. So getting able to have the tools that we needed was a lot of the work for the first prop. It's not the favorite work, but needs to be done. Now we have the tooling. Next step for us is to get a report out and start sharing it with like partners, sex, and all. So we're doing that, and also to put a prop forward for the other month. So people who are not sure, go back to the initial prop on CW. There is a thread for it. You get all the milestones, all the deliverables. I've posted to you where we are, so you can easily see where we are. It's like you don't even need like to ask anyone or whatever. You just see, oh, it looks like, does this look like the divergence protocol has been implemented? Yes. Does this look like the buyback has been implemented? Well, there is a chart. So I think it has been implemented. Now we need to tweak it. We need to share with the exchanges. We need to get like the best of it, etc. That will be the second month, and we're going to be putting a proposal forward for that soon, maybe this week, I think. However, things have been delayed a bit because of the recent event regarding this wallet, and that's why I was saying earlier, like that made me like very upset because, like, you know, it changes everything in terms of focus and all. But basically, I think we're on the good path. We're doing some good thing. It's super useful. And the first temporary, I should say, report is about to get out. And there will be another prop for another month. Same deal, same everything. Voilà.
Okay, no, look forward to that. I think it'd be good to see what happens with the recent prop that you've put up for the 800 mil burn, and then we can probably look at for the new quarter prop from the Quant team after. My 2 cents will be, I'm really excited for this burn, and I like Alex's from the start. His approach is like try and get things done, and that's sort of, you know, I'm like that as well. I'm not that technical guy. Even in my previous job as a program manager, I mean, I wasn't the most technical guy, but I was really keen to, like, you know, do things, try things to get things done. And obviously we don't want to do something wrong. I want to get this burn done, but obviously people are raising concerns like Happy Catty Crypto, and I've raised some legal concerns. We want to do it the right way, but I'm just happy to see some actions being taken, and there's been numerous proposals, numerous things, arguments, but not much gets done. So again, I'm not just singing your praise because I'm mates with Fafi or LUNC 69, but yeah, genuinely I'm looking forward to it, and hopefully it's not just a short-term pump and it's something more longer term. So that's just my 2 cents. Alex, did you want to say something? I think your mic unmute for a sec.
No, and I'm all set.
Cool. Well, thank you very much, guys. I'll reach out to you again, Fafi. Maybe in a couple of weeks' time we can do this. People that requested, we've been going on for 2 hours, so maybe next time we can let you ask questions. And Lunatic, hopefully next time you can speak a bit more. You've not said a single word. So thank you all.
No, it's fine, mate. It's fine.
No worries. Well, thank you guys for tuning in, and I just really enjoyed speaking to you guys. And yeah, hopefully speak to you guys in a couple of weeks. Good night, all.
Cool. Good night. Take care, guys.